Kylie Minogue on a night like this. 20 to 8 now on Connected. Hi there, we're into discussion with David Browining, who is the yoga soldier, former paratrooper, now living in Minehead and teaching yoga. So quite the change. If we've been through that kind of handbrake turn that you did with your career. So is there anyone listening at home tonight? You mentioned there that your wife has given you instructions. What did she say to you?
She said, pronounce your T's and don't say all the time. So I'm going to try and do that.
I think you've been doing it very well so far. So hello to David's wife who's listening in. Now then, tell us about so you qualified as a teacher. When did you start doing courses? How do you go about setting up those sorts of things?
What, attending courses or me teaching yoga classes?
Teaching them, yeah.
I put ads. I put a couple of ads out. My wife made some posters. And I just generally put on Facebook, said MC, I generally put on Facebook that I wanted to try and start a men's class initially. I'd already been doing the children's module with the British Wheel, which was over in Poole, a great lady called Christian Kerr. So she deserves a shout out. I mean, she does a thing called Cam for Kids, and she works with children of all ages. An amazing woman again. And she did the teacher training for myself down in Poole. So I wanted to work with the children anyway because I'd seen what it had done for me. So I have a great contact in the first school, lovely lady called Sarah Evans, who said, would you like to start it in the first school?
And this is in Minehead?
This is in Minehead.
Yeah, Minehead First School. Lovely. Okay, so you must have been delighted with that.
Well, it was just great. So I was actually in the middle of the teacher training part of the children's module, and some of these other people that were there who'd been teaching yoga, some of them had been teaching yoga for about 15, 20 years, had come to do the children's module. And then I said to them, oh, I'm actually going to start my children's classes next week. And they were like, what? Really that quick? I said, well, I've been offered this opportunity. I'm just going to jump in, I'm going to try it and see how I got on.
And how has it gone so far?
Well, I came up with my own little idea. So I call it Yoga Soldiers, Keepers of Inner Peace. And I've changed a lot of the names of yoga postures to little army names. So in traditional yoga, Sanskrit, Tadasana is what we call mountain pose, basically standing up nice and straight and tall. Just an example, I've changed that to attention. And I've got drawings and cards. They get like a little stamp card if they achieve all the postures. And I've made almost like kind of linked the postures together, made little assault courses. So play games. And with the games, they pause, they stand in balances, sort of mind control, listening in, bit of coordination.
Still quite a lot of military work going through what you do.
The military theme is very much in it. I wear red camouflage trousers, which again, I think just adds to the theme. And I've got red camouflage yoga mats, 20 odd of them. So each child's got a yoga mat, which is their personal space in the class.
And what do the kids think of it? You know, I can imagine them getting involved with stuff they know about, like football, say, for example. They kind of know and understand it. Yoga, they might not have come across it ever before, so how do they take to it?
They certainly talk about it now in the school. In fact, I go in some days, I've got a list that I have an in-school class, which is during school hours, and I have the after-school club, which is on a Friday afternoon, which is really busy. Sometimes I have 24 children.
Staying late on a Friday to
sometimes as many as 24. So my wife helps me now, which is quite handy, really. Especially if sometimes you do get children, they get a bit upset, sometimes a bit emotional. I think just having the lady figure there rather than just me is really good. And she joins in now, and we've kind of made it our little thing, really. It's good. It's nice to see them starting at an early age.
What would you have done? Would you say in your school in Glasgow when you were growing up there, what would you have done to have had someone teaching you about yoga age? What age are they? What, 6, 7 maybe?
Six.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. 6 up to 9 till they go to middle school. I have taught in the middle school as well. I've done 4 or 5 classes there last summer. So I've done all age groups now, really. But the little ones, they do struggle with certain things. And the amount of schoolwork that they have even at that early age now, I can't imagine what it must be like when they get to the real heavy homework stages near the end of middle school, going to We call it, is it secondary, college, whatever it is down here.
Well, you said you've got an 11-year-old, so you're about to discover all about that then, are you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. About to start. It has started.
Oh, it has started already. Okay, not good. But for you, say, let's cast your mind back to when you were a 6-year-old in Glasgow. What would you have done to have someone teaching you yoga?
Well, I would have seen the norm if I didn't know any different, surely. If that was part of the curriculum and we were said, this is what you're going to... It would be no different to go into a PE class, I guess.
Yeah. I remember doing things like apparatus. Do you remember apparatus?
I do.
Doing this sort of
The bucking the horse and the hoops and things.
All these sorts of things, yeah. Which hasn't really done that much for me in later life. If I'm perfectly honest, maybe some of my friends became gymnasts. I don't know, but I didn't. But yoga, there's more to just the physical benefit of yoga, isn't there? There's that mental, there's sort of the de-stressing that can come with it as well.
I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail, but there are 8 limbs of yoga. If anybody wants to look it up, they can. There's so much more information out there now on the internet. But in the UK, primarily, most people will do hatha yoga, which is what can come into the country from India. And hatha yoga is more or less, I don't want to be judged here from people who know far more than me, it's a connection of the body and the breath and the mind. So for me, that whole physical connection with my mind, being able to create some calmness through being able to control my breath, slow my breath down, was such a massive, massive learning curve for me, controlling, which I guess was fear and probably was PTSD in a way. And I discovered that, and I think now, we're all animals at the end of the day, aren't we? We suffer from fear. And I think if you can find something that you can use as a coping mechanism for fear and anxiety, then why not use yoga?
Oh, it's amazing. Let's talk about some of your older groups that you do as well. So you've got the kiddies that you do at school. You said the middle school as well. Up to the 80s, you said got people in their 80s doing it?
I volunteer on a Wednesday at St John's Ambulance Station in Minehead, which they have a stroke club. They have so many great volunteers, but I do about a half-hour chair yoga class there, which is good. We use straps, they use the chairs. Some of them have had strokes over 20 years ago and haven't improved massively, and they seem to love the yoga.
It must be good for you as well, fulfilling for you to see yoga affecting for the best these people.
They sit there, and one of the ladies who helps immensely, a great woman, Liz Saunders Singer. She'd probably be great at giving her a shout out. Again, she does so much for them. She helps with all sorts of stuff, and she says that they're never as quiet as when I come in and I do a bit of breath work with them first. I always start off with a little breath work, try and get them to close their eyes, try and get them to scan their body and try and feel what's actually happening inside them. Because, you and me that haven't had a stroke, we can't imagine what it must feel like. I wouldn't want to imagine. I see some of them who find it really difficult to move, and they could sit there for the entire time I'm there. It almost looks like they haven't moved at all. And I think just that, even small amounts of movement for them must be a great thing to be able to do it and be guided through it as well, where they feel safe.
You're having a big impact on these people's lives. I know you said it's only half an hour on a Wednesday, but that can have a big impact on someone who perhaps isn't mobile, can't do that a lot of it, but you're there helping them. So I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing. Other groups as well then, so you've talked about those 2 very different groups that you're doing. How many groups are you doing per week?
Okay, I teach on a Monday night. I do 2 classes, so I do a men-only class on a Monday, which is at 6 o'clock in the Friends Meeting Hall, Bank Street in Minehead. That's a men-only class. Don't judge me for it being men-only, but I do find that if they have that little bit of space for themselves, they do feel more comfortable to try certain things without the girls being there. And perhaps they'll move on and join a mixed class. They have said to me they'd rather pay me to keep the hall going, to keep it a men's class, because they feel comfortable doing it.
It's interesting. Something we've talked about on this show before is the fact that there are a lot of spaces for women-only things, and that's fantastic. But actually there aren't, and perhaps in the modern times it's becoming fewer and fewer places where it is specifically men, and perhaps that's not a great thing. We need places for men who can, talk about men stuff or be among men. Actually, it's important.
The whole group changes the minute a girl comes in to the scenario for some reason. It's human nature, I guess. The guys they drop some kind of guard or something that they seem to be, I don't know, maybe protecting themselves. But when they get in a group of guys, they're willing to try.
It's interesting.
It is an interesting thing. I can't quite put my finger on it what it is, but they really seem happy to try stuff. The minute a girl comes into the scenario, something changes. I guess it's just, like I said, human nature.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to keep the guys' class going.
Yeah, well, it seems to work if you're getting different things out of when it's a guys group to when it's mixed is really interesting.
Yeah.
So you're basically you're busy. You are a busy.
I'm busy.
Busy bloke.
I'm busy. And another class that I want to kind of talk about really is I do what's called aerial yoga, which is you're suspended from the ceiling in a silk hammock. It's not silk, but it's a kind of silky looking material, and we do flips and tricks. And we've done girls' nights down at, this is run in Minehead Eye. Again, a real good team of people that do lots of stuff for the children there. They have a skate park there. They've got a climbing wall, which has got massive protective mats. And we've put seven swings up over these mats. So the girls have a girls' night on a Thursday. They come and try a bit of yoga, aerial yoga, tricks and things. And I do a regular Tuesday class, which is for adults.
That's amazing. All those different strands that you do. So the aerial stuff. Can you talk us through like when you say flips and tricks? That sounds quite complex. What you're doing? Can anyone have a go?
I think if you've got a reasonable core, which is what part of it's about building, then you can. Once you've got used to the fact that you're upside down. For some people, they get a wee bit seasicky. Maybe I've had a few people haven't come back because I think it's made them feel a bit giddy. But primarily, though, I mean, I've got the same group now that's been coming for ages. They're coming back next term. So we'll probably have to extend it to more classes now because it has got more popular. And they love it. They love going upside down.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Well done you. For people who want to get involved, perhaps they've heard one of those groups you've mentioned that just strikes a chord with them. How can they do that? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, they can contact Minehead Eye, again, which obviously is Minehead, down near the industrial estate. They can talk to them. So we do want to try and push the children's aerial yoga down there. They've got a new room they've built, which has got air conditioning in, good space, which would be good to set up some children's yoga that isn't just in the school. So if anybody wants to try and get a group of children together and they want their children to kind of learn some life skills for the future, suffering with all sorts of different things. We talk about soldiers like we did earlier on, but you forget you got medical staff, fire, ambulance people, doctors, police. They all see horrendous things, don't they? As well as the public who are involved in an accident. We forget about children who may have been in the back of a car accident. If they can learn some kind of, even just some small breathing and some techniques using their body, that would be great. And I'd like to set something like that up in the end.
I think you're doing some amazing work in the west of the county, by the sounds of it, David. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. It's fascinating from, growing up in Glasgow, being the soldier, and now doing the yoga. It's an amazing 3 strands of your life. So thank you very much for coming in and talking to us about it.
Thank you.
By the sounds of it, David. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. It's fascinating from, growing up in Glasgow, being the soldier, and now doing the yoga.